Lagos is home to over 20 million people. Its commercial status attracts people from other parts of the country, yet it's the smallest state in Nigeria. The influx of people into Lagos makes commuting increasingly difficult by the day, as large number of residents move by road, avoiding other means of transportation. The waterways is an alternative means of transportation, with 34 routes connecting different parts of Lagos, but it appears underutilized. For this reason, in February 2020, Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu commissioned 8 new locally made boats, while in June 2021, additional 7 high-capacity boats was added to the existing 6, being operated by the Lagos Ferry Service. Some of the private operators have been in the sector for over 10 years, share their experiences.
We are 3 groups: integrated, united ferries, and then Abuatin. What we have is we have boats under each association. Like our own now, we have our 85 to 90, between 85 and 90 boats under us. And Abuatin, they have something similar like that. The United Ferry have almost about 60. Charge 1,000 per each passengers and per each trips. Then, where we need government help, number 1, the spare parts we are buying is very, very expensive. And if you have to look at the spare parts that we used to buy for 10,000 naira before, it's now 25,000 naira. Number 2, engine oil is 500 naira before, but this year now, it has turned to 1,600, 1,800 for a liter of engine oil. So these are the areas we want government to help. And then the seaweed, if you look at that place, it has started coming in. The water center has started coming in. So we want them to come and help us, because it's going to be there will be problem on our gearbox and our engine. The next one we want government to do is we want to buy new boats, a standard boat that is befitting us than this one.
It's also a business that is run by the Forex, because mostly everything that is used, from the building of the boat to the engine to the profiling, everything is from outside the country. So it's quite capital intensive, it's engine maintenance, but with proper structure and business running, it's quite lucrative. If you talk about manpower, it starts from the captain and the deckhand. For each boat of 20 passengers or 25 passengers, you have a captain and a deckhand. And then the full capacity of the boat is 20, 25. So if you have a boat that is carrying about 30, 40, you definitely have more than 1 captain on board in case anything happens, and then you have more than 1 deckhand on board. But for major kind of boats that we have as our mini, that has between 20, 25 passengers, you have 1 deckhand and 1 captain. Of course, water transportation is a very viable alternative to road transportation, particularly for people that are on the cosmopolitan areas of Lagos State. If you are living in Ikorodu, you are living in Badagry, you are living in Ekpe, you would tell yourself that the best alternative is for you to go by waterways. 15 out of the 20 local governments in Lagos State is water accessible. So if you are moving from any of these local governments to the major areas in Lagos, like Eko, Idumota, Ebutero, and all of that, where of course there is congestion, Victoria Island, Lekki, the best viable options that you have is the waterways. And it is now open. There are a lot of jetties that are accessible for people to go through, and it's a viable alternative for the congestion of the roads. For Ikorodu, I can speak of a truth and of a fact that we do not have the class of majority that has water phobia. Why? Because even the most unlearned that has their markets in Ebutero go through the waterways, because they have seen that beyond the the fact that it is fast, it also helps them, to settle and plan their time. But for anybody who still has phobia, my advice is going to be that the waterways are safe. There is no how, just like you're seeing me now, there is no how anybody will go into any of the boats without wearing their life jackets. And we do not even have water hazard like we have on the road. I don't think there's any day that there will not be any road hazard. But that's not the record that we have on the waterway. And aside that, there are life buoys, there are safety gadgets on all of the boats that are moving, and every passenger is required. It's a must. Even the deckhands and everybody that's going to be on board the boat at the time is moving must have their life jackets on. And in case there's not any hazard or there's turbulence on the water, the safest place to be is the water. So we render training to passengers. When passengers, oftentimes we give them trainings, to let them know that in case there's the hazard, this is the next thing to do.
On the jetty now, we are very secure. We have water guide officers, which is last officers, that maybe attend to people who want to enter boat. They will tell you what to do and the necessary thing to do. So for your safety. Then aside that, we have ATS from Lastra too, which is police people. They are here both day and night maybe for security on ground. But the only area which I would like the government to look into is because I believe when you are maybe going to airport now, when you enter airport, you cannot just enter into the airport without proper checking. We have an issue at the gate because here it's just like everybody can come in, but when there's nobody to challenge you, you have different kind of people that come in. Some people will even come and sit down. They are not going anywhere. They are not boarding the boat. They will just sit there without knowing their mission and what they are doing. So for proper safety, we need to have someone or maybe some security at the gate that will be checking people.
A captain explains what it takes to be in control of a boat.
In the marine course, we have learned a lot to navigate in your right way and the left way, which known as a port and starboard on the marine. We don't call it left, we don't call it right, but once you are a marine, you know your port side, you know your starboard. So this is how you navigate through when you are on a waterway. Waterway is more better than road because waterway, it's very easy for one to train to learn how to sail boat on the marine because you avoid a lot of traffic, you avoid a lot of an accident within your opponent coming on the way, which on the road. But on the waterway, there's an open waterway, which you can maneuver. Even at all, you have some submerging wreck on the water. You quickly maneuver to change your location and proceed rather than on the road. Because the road, you have a limit way that you can turn your hand steering. So, but on the waterway, it's not like that.
At the Pakodo Ferry Terminal in Ikorodu, passengers fill in their profile before boarding a boat, all for safety purpose.
Ikorodu is one of the areas in Lagos where water transportation is thriving because of traffic congestion on the road. Right now I'm at Ikorodu Ferry Terminal, about to take a boat ride to my next destination, Falomo. It took us 30 minutes to arrive at Falomo from Ikorodu. That was fast, I must say.
As good an option as water transportation is, those who use it regularly believe it can be better.
They should emphasize on the safety, and also they should provide them more boats. Like the one I take now is the smaller boats. The safety is not secured somehow. For the bigger ones, they are balanced on the water, and the wave, they are not easily, um, they are not easily affected by the waves. I've been planning this for 22 months. Yeah, 22 months now, and I feel it's better off than the road, even though a lot of people tend to say it's more risky. But for me, from Ebute down to Ikoyi, it takes 30 minutes. So I feel that even though the cost is on the high side, it still does make sense. You get to walk fresh and you get back home fresh.
Because of the traffic on the road, and it's easy to get to the island through the water transportation. We only pray if the government will encourage it and put more boats or encourage the private operators.
The State Waterways Authorities are aware of the challenges faced by the private operators, and the General Manager tells us what government is doing to address the issues.
One of the other areas as well, which is also critical for us, is the Badore, but moving people all the way from Ajah, Badore down to the island as well. Of course, around Ikeja is a bit, we'll say waterlocked, because it's only certain areas in Ikeja that you can access the waterways. So we're looking for innovative ways in which we can begin to move people from Ikeja as well down to the island, because we believe that it will take stress off a place like Third Mainland Bridge. Please don't litter your environment, because every time you litter your environment, the waste ends up in the waterways. So if we don't litter an environment, we will not have waste on our waterways. That's one. And of course, that one is all a collective responsibility. Then the second one is down to the wrecks. Now, what we've been able to do in Lagos State Waterways Authority is actually map out all of those wrecks and where they are. Every year, the state government actually removes a minimum of about 3 wrecks every year in strategic places where we know that, look, it can impede the operations of these boat operators. So with that extensive mapping that's been done now, it's now easier for operators to avoid those locations, because obviously it's something that we share with all the stakeholders and we share with them. And then finally, of course, water hyacinth, we're able to curb that because the season is coming. And those locations where they're usually affected, where usually affected boating operations, we actually go there, we do what we call pegging. We pack them and also do a recycling of those water hyacinth, because water hyacinth might look like waste, but it's actually a waste to wealth initiative, which we are also a part of in LASWA. For safety, the very first thing we would like everyone to know is that, look, water transportation is actually the safest mode of transportation. That's the first thing. Now, people say, what do you mean by that? But the truth about it is that, look, once you have your appropriate life jacket on, you are safe in the case of any emergency. So the first thing first, before you even embark on water transportation, is your life jacket. You must ensure, that's why we ensure that you wear your life jacket. Sometimes we had incidents where passengers get on board and get tired and want to just take it off. And we're like, no, it's for your own safety. You have to wear this life jacket. So the first is the life jacket. But even as they get to the jetties, they meet our personnel at the jetties who ensure that they wear those life jackets before they even get on board. And of course, in the case of any emergencies, it's 2 things. One, make sure you have your life jacket fully strapped on, and don't panic, because the usual thing is to panic, and I can't blame anybody. It's a funny situation. The first thing that comes to your mind is, look, am I about to die? But don't panic. And of course, we have, like I said, we have emergency numbers, and we're also taking it a step further, whereby from those boats now, all they will need to do is probably just, even without sending a message, because at that point in time, you're not able to type a message, just by the tap of a button on your boat, or just by even sending a letter, it already signals our waterways control room, which we're about to set up. And that's the first time any state government is going to have a inland waterways control room, which we're setting up this year. So the whole idea of that as well is to help with emergencies. And we're also upgrading our search and rescue units to be more expanded, because now what we have one on the island. We're going to put one in Ikorodu and Ojo. That way, it enables us to be able to get to any incident in 5 to 10 minutes.
We proceed to Lang Ferry office at Mile 2 to know the efforts of government to drive the water transportation system.
Currently, Lang Ferry is operating from 18 terminals and jetty. and we have 13 routes that we are applying as of today. You can board Lake Ferry boat from Ikpakodo Terminal in Ikorodu. You can board it from Bayeku Terminal, also in Ikorodu, in Gbogbo Bayeku. You can board from Ijede Terminal, also in Ikorodu. You can board from Ibeshe Terminal, also in Ikorodu. Then from Badore, you can board. From Igbo Jetty in Ibejuleki, you can board. From Bogije Jetty in Ibejuleki, you can board. From Ayetoro Market Jetty, you can board in Ekpe. From Eretokpo Market, Banana Market in Ekpe, you can board our boats. Coming to 5 Canary Terminal in Faloma Ikoyi, you can board our boat. CMS Marina, you can board our boat from there. Ebutero Jetty, you can board our boat from there. Liverpool Apapa, you can board our boat from there. Maitu Ferry Terminal, you can board our boat from there. Ijegun Egba Terminal, you can board Lake Ferry boat from there. Ebute Ojo Terminal, you can board Lake Ferry boat. And from Badagry, Ebute Mila Jetty, where we have ultra-modern jetty taking place now, being ongoing construction, you can board our boat from there as well. So we are spread across the 3 senatorial districts and all the 5 divisions of Lagos, taking into consideration that 25% of the landmass of Lagos State is actually covered by water. So, and this is the time we are taking the full maximum benefit, exploring the potential of what waterway can do for us in Lagos State. That's why Mr. Governor is energizing and strengthening the operation of Lagos State Ferry Service to ensure that multimodal options are available to passengers and to commuters. Is either you want to go by the road, or you want to go by the water, or you want to go by the rail. But as we're speaking currently, the intermodal connection is taking place between the road and the water. The BRT is working, and the Lake Ferry is working also on the waterway. So we have seen the intermodal connection of the transportation system of Lagos State, and that's the future of Lagos State. We're talking about earth issues. When you're on the road, there is carbon emission. When you're on the water, there's no carbon emission. So it comes with a lot of earth benefit to travel by water. And that's the advocacy that we are preaching. That's what we are telling people, and that's what we are sensitizing members of the public to know what the advantages that lies in transporting by water, and we want them to come and enjoy it.
Water transportation is intentional movement of water over large distances using vessels. It's known to be one of the fastest means of moving from one place to another. And the Lagos State government says the sector is open for more investors.